When I first started Humble, the first journalism class I attended to was video production, and I was very homesick. I missed my family. I missed my dog. I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, I just felt so lonely. And I remember walking into Gustav and I saw Moose there, and then like it lightened up my day. I was just like, wow, this is my first day of school and I get to pet a dog. I was like, it made me feel at home. I felt very welcomed. I was just like full of joy because I got to see a dog that was like the size of my dog. And yeah, Moose, ever since like every class I've taken with Vicky, Moose has always been there. Every time I see Moose, I always try to pet him. He was always around. He's very friendly. Yeah. Well, gonna miss seeing Moose around now.
Hi, I'm Melanie Michalak. I'm a friend of Vicky's, and one of my stories has to do with the time that I actually lived with Vicky and Moose for a couple months. So it's really hard to find housing in Humboldt County, and Vicky and Moose were really generous, and they let me stay in their extra bedroom. So I brought my things and a blow-up mattress, and I blew it up, and I slept on the floor. And Moose was just like, cool, there's another dog bed, another human that I get to hang out with. And he loved having me there, I think. And he was another person who came home, and he got to, wiggle through your legs and shake his butt and you'd scratch it. And every morning he would wake me up in a very specific way. I'd leave the door somewhat cracked. I wouldn't leave it shut because Moose did not like shut doors, which is kind of symbolic of his personality of uniting people. And so the door's slightly open, and he would just, a big dog, you just sort of barrel through, and the door would go thud on the hinges, and that would kind of wake me up. And then he would come over, and just this blow-up mattress is the perfect height for his butt to be up here, just like, all right, I'm ready for my morning butt scratches. And his tail would go thump, 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 thump against the blow-up mattress, which was hollow, so it made this really loud echo noise. And then he would flop over, and then we'd do belly rubs, and his little foot would go against the blow-up mattress. Anyway, so that was a really fun part of my life. And then I eventually moved to my house. And I don't know if I told you this, Vicky, but I saw Moose in your Subaru at Wildberries a couple of weeks later. And I thought, oh, Moose. So I come over, and the windows are down. Vicky keeps it nice and cool in there for him. And I come over, and hey, Moose, what's up? He looks at me, blinks a couple times, and he looks the other way. Because he was like, what's up? Like, you just left. Like, you left me. Your blow-up mattress was gone. Like, I don't know if we could be friends. So anyway, I think the thing that Moose taught me is that you really have to keep connected with everybody. And anyway, I'll really miss him a lot.
I'm Brian Donahue. My first memory of Moose is actually very clear to me. There are these jalapeno poppers that you can get at like the depot, and I remember I got a full plate of them and I only ate half of it because I usually eat way more than I can handle. And I threw it in the trash, and I forget who it was, but someone just screamed, "No, don't do it!" It was Deirdre's class, and Vicky was coming in right after, and someone just does the most dramatic thing. I'm like, it's jalapeno poppers. It belongs in the garbage when I'm done with it. She's like, you don't understand. Moose is coming in. And I had no idea who or what Moose was. So I said, Moose will probably enjoy them then. And then the first thing that happens when I turn around, I look around, and Moose is just sitting right there, like, looking at me. Like, essentially, yeah. But, yeah, he was a sweetheart. I know I wasn't the only one, but every single time I'd see him, I'd just play with him, shake his face a little, play with his ears, and such a loving dog. He really, just as long as he felt the love, it didn't matter to him. And that was the greatest thing about him.
I mean, I remember when I first took one of your classes, he was your little sidekick, and I was like, oh, cool, like, there's going to be a dog in this class. Like, automatically makes the class way better. And just him being goofy all the time and just kind of waddling next to you, laying down for the class, or sneaking over to the trash can and trying to dig something out of there and eat it. Moose was always just a nice spirit to have around. It's the best way I could put it, because he had his own little personality to him. And he'd just go do his rounds around the class, have everyone pet him at the beginning of class, and it's just always nice having him around, and I'm really going to miss him.
I'm Alex Hassensab. Moose might have subconsciously been the reason I became a journalism major, because I guess I met him like my first semester here 4 years ago, and I was not a journalism major, and then like I took video productions and I switched my major right then. Yeah, it was just so fun to like see him every day. Like it just like brightened my day, and he totally cracked me up, because when he would lay down, he wouldn't just like lay down, he would like turn into a puddle. Like his whole body would just like I was like, how are you so relaxed? And I did like the little butt, like how he'd go through your legs so that his butt would be in perfect like butt scratching position. Like if my legs were open, he would just go like through my legs like a tunnel and stop midway. So I'd have to like go like that. But yeah, I mean, he totally like would brighten up my day. He was just so funny, like really just made me laugh like every day. So I'll miss him.
Before this semester, I only actually had one class with Vicky in the computer lab in Gist Hall. And I just remember when you brought Moose, it just lightened the mood so much. And I know nobody would admit it, but it was definitely everybody's goal to get Moose to come to them that day. And if I was able to get him to come to me and I get on the ground with him and get on his back, and if I could make him do like the leg thing, then my day was great after that. Moose is a part of you, and I just know like he might be gone physically, but he's still here with all of us because he's touched so many of us. So yeah, thank you for sharing yourself and him with all of us.
I always liked Moose's gentle nature. He's just this nice, gentle grandpa character. And I'm going to miss that about him.
It's Kern Daly. I only met Moose at the end of last school year. I was a freshman, and I hadn't been around the journalism department much, and I went to the first journalism club meeting of the year, and there was pizza, and I grabbed a piece of pizza, and I was sitting there, and as people were hiding their pizza from Moose, I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't realize why they were all holding it so closely to them, and Moose walked up to me, and I was just petting him, and I looked away for a second, and then I looked back at my pizza, and there was a chunk of it missing. And I just let him sit at my feet for most of the meeting, petting him and sneaking him pieces of the toppings from my pizza every time he'd look at me. And I'd see him around campus, and I'd see him in the Bret Harte House, and it would just like, it always made my day better because it's so gloomy up here. Like, he just made me smile every time I saw him, and just knowing he was there, like if I ever had a bad day, I would pop into the Bret Harte House just to see if Moose was just like chilling or hanging out, because just seeing Moose would make me happy.
The first thing I heard about the department was that because Moose was there, people felt welcome a lot of the time. Talked to Allie Jones, and that was the first thing that she had to say about the department, was that the love that Moose brought to the place really moved outward in a wave and welcomed everyone else in as if they were part of a family. And that was the first thing that I felt after seeing Moose coming in here and quaking in my boots, and realizing that I was welcome, and then quickly realizing that Moose was more of a representation of who Vicky was. And even now that he's gone too, I still feel that love, and I still feel him around because of the effect that he had on people, and the way that Vicky emanates love in her life then and now especially is such a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy to be able to continue on with what is now my family because of Moose and because of Vicky.
So my name's Garrett, and my favorite Moose story, like many of you have already shared, stories about feeding Moose. I think Moose and food was a common tandem. This one involves food that Moose wasn't supposed to have, which I think most of us have a story or two or 10 or 20 of those. 2 years ago, Joyce and Amelia and I, we put together the JMC Bake Down. So the idea was to have a little fundraiser. We'd have people enter baked goods. And for judges, we wanted to have people who had gone through our program, who had graduated. And so we invited, I think, 6 or 7 people from across campus to be our judges. Moose apparently didn't get the memo. And so at one point, we're out here setting up, getting everything ready, and in the back, we'd assembled some platters for the judges to come in and sample everything, and then for them to, mark their scores. I forget who it was, but I hear somebody yell, "No, no, Moose!" We all ran in the back. He had devoured at least half a platter, or maybe 3/4 of a platter. Because Moose didn't want to be left out. He wanted to be in the action, the center of attention. And so whether we liked it or not, he was a judge that day. So we had to scramble to get another platter made and get everything fixed. But I just remember that story and thinking, okay, Moose, you got your food. Time for us to put everything back in order. But I just want to say Moose brought us a lot of joy. I've loved hearing everybody's stories. And I just want to say, Vicky, thank you so much for sharing Moose with us. He meant so much to each of us in many different ways. And he was definitely our family. And I can't thank you enough for sharing him with the rest of us. So thank you.
It was nice being able to take cute little photos of him, and I definitely got some really nice ones of him. One in him sitting in front of Kirby's office, and then one just kind of looking out. It was really cute and adorable, and it definitely made me feel a little bit better, especially after a long, rough semester.
I understand now why people adopt pets as family members, because you couldn't help but see Moose as a family member. Moose was a family member, and when I was younger, it was you see your pet as a family. It doesn't make sense to me, and I understand now how you can just look at an animal and you're like, I love this animal so much, he's a part of me. That's beautiful.
It's Cliff Berkowitz, and I've got several great Moose tales. One of my favorites was, I'd been here a while. I got to know Moose quite well, and I know that Moose had an affinity for food. Were he here now, I think he probably would have cleaned off his table. Maybe left the salad, but... So, I'll never forget, one time Vicky told me that there was... that Moose was in the hospital. I was like, wow, what happened? What did he do? And you told me that he had actually torn open the fridge and had eaten everything in it. Everything. And it was just, I could not believe it. And this is not a young puppy either. Moose had been around a while, and I just couldn't believe that he did that. And, of course, he got through that. There are certain dogs that are more than dogs. They're actually people that in dog skin. And Moose was definitely one of them. I've had a few of those also, and yeah, he was really something special. I'll miss him.
I'm Zachary Lathoris. I had all of Vicky's classes while I was in school. I did. With Moose, it was always, he would always relax everybody. And I remember we would bring videos in for class review and video production, and maybe there was a criticism that you wholeheartedly disagreed with, and you're getting a little defensive, and all of a sudden, before things got too loud, Moose is just sort of howling out of the corner. He came up, he put his head on your lap, he rolled over, showed his belly, and he just kind of diffused the situation and let everybody know it's okay, and we're just all here to be better. Thank you for bringing him into your life. And our lives too. We all miss him very much.
This is Jess Ernst. We became best buds at one point, and Vicky kind of got mad. Don't feed him chips. Can you not feed him bread, please? Yeah, he loved the bread. And
your French fries.
And my French fries. Yeah, Moose was the dearest soul.
My name's Carolyn Ortenberger, and Vicky is a friend of mine. I don't think I knew Moose as well as any of the rest of you. I certainly wasn't in class with him every day or every week. So I mostly met Moose at Vicky's house at around 6 a.m, trying to ride our trainers on bikes. And I heard what someone said over here about how Vicky still has Moose with her, and of course that's true. And I think whenever I see dogs, what I always think is I always watch the way a dog watches their person, and with that unconditional, just boundless love that they have for their person. And of course, Moose saw Vicky that way, and there's no judgment there, right? It's just, I love you. I love you. And Vicky, even though I haven't been her student, she's always been really generous with her knowledge with me, and the way that that's translated is in some pretty hilarious sessions of her trying to get me to learn to do things on my bicycle that I'm way too scared to do. And but without going into it too much, I'll just say that literally her standing, like holding the back of my saddle above where like I'm like too scared to like go down this little tiny quote unquote steep hill, but her just standing there, she might be judging in her head, but expressing no judgment at all and just encouraging me. And I feel like that's that same kind of love. She knows something, she wants other people to know it, she shares it, she believes in each individual person, is what I'm hearing and what I know about her. And I think that that's a lot like Moose.